Yo, you're watching the Screaming Fish here, people, and once again I'm here for you guys with yet another video. And what a glorious day it is. It's raining. Again. Anyway, in today's video we are going to be taking a look at Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan. Finally, a Christopher Nolan movie I can talk about on my channel and have a good reason to do it, other than the fact that I like Christopher Nolan movies. Yay! Anyway, here's my review of Dunkirk. I love Christopher Nolan. I think he's one of the best movie directors working in Hollywood today. The entire Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, and Interstellar are all fantastic examples of his work in the film industry. So naturally, I was excited for his latest picture, Dunkirk, a film that is based on one of the biggest military disasters in history, as well as following the civilians that went out on their boats to save those soldiers who were stranded on the beach of Dunkirk. I didn't watch every single trailer for this movie. I watched like 2 trailers and then I realised that the film is only an hour and 47 minutes long. So I didn't watch the other trailers to avoid the same thing that happened to me with the Batman v Superman trailers from happening again. If you've seen the Batman v Superman trailers, you know what I'm on about. Anyway, I saw Dunkirk, finally! And obviously I'm here to share my thoughts on the film with you guys. This movie is Christopher Nolan at his best. This is some of the best filmmaking I have ever seen. There are so many jaw-dropping things about Dunkirk from a filmmaking perspective. For starters, there's the directing. Christopher Nolan uses real planes, real boats, real locations, explosions, and hundreds of extras to mesmerize you in every scene. Right from the get-go, you're in the attack. It doesn't give up 40 minutes or so of its runtime to set all this up. When the movie starts, you're in this event. We're introduced to a bunch of characters very quickly, and then you're thrown into this battle. There is never a dull moment. There's never a scene where a bunch of characters just sit around and talk to each other. This movie is about this event, more than anything else. This is a very different war film compared to what we're used to. You don't get any of those things that we're so used to seeing in films like this. This is a movie about being right smack down in the middle of this horrific event. Everything you see on screen is completely authentic. There's never a scene or small moment that feels wasted or underwhelming. There's never anything that feels out of place because Nolan uses every shot, every scene, and every line of dialogue to its full potential. At first, the film's storytelling can feel a little disorientating, but the way I would describe this film's method of storytelling is very similar to the way I would describe the storytelling in Pulp Fiction. There are multiple events that happen at the same time, and the film will go back and forward in time between those events to show you everything that takes place in this one event. Dunkirk is essentially one gigantic sequence that's told in a very intriguing way. The impact of this film doesn't stem from hoping this character makes it out okay so he can go and see his family again and live a long and happy life. No, it comes from seeing this spectacle. For example, those aerial dogfights, those scenes work so well because the planes are real. When a plane is shot down, it doesn't blow up in a really over-the-top and exaggerated way. They just crash, like they would in real life. The gunfire as well doesn't look like movie gunfire. It's all so frighteningly real. They are shot and edited so it feels like you're watching a realistic, suspenseful, and utterly terrifying dogfight, and there's a lot of scenes like this in this movie. I came out of this movie trying to figure out how they even shot those scenes because they feel so authentic. It is 110% about this moment, and while its storytelling is enthralling from start to finish, the film is very simplistic in its characterization. At the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to all these characters, but I didn't feel any connection to any of them. You don't get any kind of hint as to what their backstories are, except for one scene towards the end. Every sequence had me mesmerized, but I do feel that there are just a few sequences in this movie that could have benefited from some characterization. That said, the cast do turn out some excellent performances. Cillian Murphy was excellent. He isn't in the movie too much, but what we got from him in this film I thought was excellent. Some may view this character as a pretty selfish dude, but you understand why he's like that, and the movie does that in a pretty interesting way. I really enjoyed Tom Hardy in the aerial dogfights. He does have a mask over his face for nearly all his scenes, but his eyeballs I thought acted very well in this film. He manages to convey so much emotion into his performance just by the look in his eyes and the way they react in certain situations. Fionn Whitehead? I probably just butchered the hell out of that name, and if I did, I do apologize. He was great in this. He doesn't speak at all for the first half of this movie, but in a lot of ways he carried the scenes he was in. Whenever we're on the beach with the soldiers, he is the driving force of the movie, and he does it so well. All the cast turned out great performances, but Mark Rylance was fantastic. He stole every scene he was in. You feel for this character in the sense that you sense his devotion and willingness to do what he is doing, because you can tell that he's not going to be able to live with himself if he doesn't do what he's doing. And surprisingly, Harry Styles, he was great. He gave arguably the best performance in this movie, and I really wasn't expecting to say that when I came out of this movie. He puts an unbelievable amount of effort into his performance. You could always feel the desperation in his voice whenever there was something tense or scary going on. One thing that did kind of worry me about this film when I walked into it was that the film was certified for persons 12 and over. And that made me worried because I fear that they haven't gone all out with the brutality of this situation. But surprise, surprise, I was wrong. Again, this is one of the most brutal war films I have ever seen, even though it's rated 12. The bombing sequences are freaking terrifying. I found myself firmly grasping onto my brother's thigh. Like, firmly grasping onto my brother's thigh. It was so tense. The action isn't the kind of action where you're thinking, that was awesome, oh, that's so cool. This action is realistic, brutal, and scary as all hell. The opening sequence of this movie had me chattering my teeth. This isn't a very long movie. It's only an hour and 47 minutes long, but at the same time, that is the perfect runtime for a movie like this. Had it been any shorter, it wouldn't have had a great enough impact, and if it were longer, it would have dragged on too long and overstayed its welcome. This film impacts you in all the right ways, and most importantly, it makes you feel like you're there in this moment. You feel like you're there with these soldiers who are trying desperately to make it out of this place alive and get back home to their families. Dunkirk is one hell of a thrill ride. This movie impacted me emotionally. It scared me. It made me feel like I was there in this event, and the filmmaking is absolutely phenomenal. If you want to see a movie that will give you chills for the entire duration of its runtime, then I don't even need to remind you that Dunkirk is most definitely the movie for you. So, guys, those are my thoughts on Dunkirk. I do hope you enjoyed this video. I thought Dunkirk was an amazing and thrilling experience, even though I think the characterization could have been a little better. But overall, I would say it was a very, very good movie, and a very thrilling one at that. So, take my word for it. Go see Dunkirk. You will have an amazing time. But once again, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and I will indeed see you guys in the next one. But before I go, I would just like to ask you, have you seen Dunkirk? What did you think of it? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was bad? Did you think it was somewhere in the middle? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.